All right, everybody, you know what time it is. The Real Talk Sports Show is coming up right now. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host, Minister Jonathan Simmons, and we're very thankful to have you back in the building with us here on a beautiful Tuesday afternoon, especially if you're living here in the ATL. Spectacular day today. It feels like summertime already. Weather climbing up into the 80-degree um, marker. So good stuff here. And as always, lots of sports happening over the weekend. And we're going to talk a little bit about it here on the Real Talk Sports Show. We got lots of good stuff going on. We got the controversy with Nick Saban and you know who? Prime time. The question of the NIL, somebody getting paid, somebody getting a check. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk a little bit about the Braves, their struggles so far during the season. Is this something that they'll be able to shake themselves out of, or is the World Series going to hang over, going to knock the Braves out of playoff contention for 2022? I know we're early in the season. I'm just saying right now the Braves are not playing that well. And it's kind of a cumulative thing, really. What you're seeing is that the team as a whole, you're not getting the kind of production that you thought you were going to get across the board. You look at that Braves lineup, they are running probably, 9 deep. There's really no easy outs when these guys are playing up to par. But right now, like I said, again, the Braves are not showing you the type of play that brought them to the World Series last year. So we're going to keep our eye on that to see if the Bravos will be able to shake it. Um, like I said, they've had some streaks. They've had some times where they've looked pretty good. But all in all, they're going to really have to make some hay now. Playing the Marlins and the Phillies, two teams that are not that good, they're going to have to really find a way to make it happen and to get some wins on the board, because right now they're about maybe 7 or 8 games behind the Metropolitans. But the Mets have lost two of their best pitchers, Jacob deGrom and also Max Scherzer. So those guys are going to be out for a while. Got to figure that the Mets are not going to play as well over these next couple of weeks with those guys being gone. So Braves have to make some hay. They have a 7-game homestand. I'm thinking they need to go at least 5-2 on the homestand for it to make some sense for them to get back into this race. Well, anyway, as you know, guys, whenever I do this show, we bring on one of the most beautiful women in sports talk radio or TV. I believe she's in the room. The queen is here.
Hello, Jonathan. Hi, everybody.
Ta-da! The queen is in the building. How are you, Tree?
I'm all right. How are you doing?
Not bad at all. Like I said, a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Nice day outside. I don't know if you got a chance to get out for a second, but in the 80s, feels like summertime is already here.
Yes, it was a nice day.
Beautiful, beautiful day. Yeah. So, as always, stuff going on here in the world of sports. What I'm going to do is we normally talk about sports only, but certainly we would be remiss if we don't at least mention prayers and condolences. Before I do that, let's skip over here to a champion, not one, but two-time Super Bowl champion, also a member of the Fort Valley State Sports Hall of Fame, and also now part of the athletic management team, looking to make some big things happen at his alma mater. The one and only Tyrone Poole is in the building. What's going on?
Hey, how you guys doing? How you doing, Tree? How you doing, Jonathan? Hello, everybody. Hope you're doing well.
Hey,
Yeah,
Tyrone.
doing well.
All right, awesome.
Well, like I said, before we get started in some sports here, I think all of you that are watching, certainly I know Tree and you, Tyrone, as well. Tyrone, especially you being a parent, we want to certainly send out some prayers to the folks out in Texas. We once again have our country struck with senseless violence as a shooter went into an elementary school and shot multiple students. I want to say that the tally right now is somewhere around 13 or 14 young children have lost their lives at the hand of a ridiculous gunman. So we certainly want to offer our prayers and condolences to all the families there in Texas.
Definitely. And I think the count now is 17 children
Uh, yeah, I
and one
mean,
teacher.
it's just ridiculous. I mean, I would like so we won't belabor it here today, but to see these things keep happening all around our nation, it just shows us once again the importance of as a country at some point understand that we need to turn back to the Lord and really begin to pray for this type of evil to uh, you know not continue to strike our country. But like I say again, that's for another time, another program. Again, now we know the death count is up to 17. Our prayers and condolences with the families in Texas. Well, back on to the note of sports. A lot of stuff has been going on. Tyrone, Tree, like I mentioned, the Braves still kind of struggling along here, trying to get their sea legs. Um, Tyrone is always, he talked about this with the Hawks, and we saw it come true. He says sometimes that one of your worst enemies when you're trying to be a consistent winner is success. So, Tyrone, do you think this might have struck the Braves that this World Series hangover has really now kind of got them in trouble?
Yeah, it's not a hangover. It's not a hangover till the season is over. So it's a long season still. I know it's stuff that people want to talk about. Everybody wants to talk negative, but the season, let's talk positive. The season is still going. Okay, there is no hangover. Yeah, the Braves have struggled to win more than two straight games, but the point is they're in third place. It's still a long season. They got the Philadelphia Phillies, so let's win some games from there, and move on. They're struggling offensively. Right now, they're ranked 24th in team batting, averaging just what, just around 230 as a team. And Yeah, they need some things fixed. But it's a long season. They know how to win. The bright spot about pitching, Charlie Morton, he's been doing pretty good. So, let's let it air out some more. The season is still long.
But yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I've been telling Braves fans, please don't jump off the ledge. It is still kind of early in the season. And I think really it's just the big problem with the Braves right now is they don't have really anybody consistently that's putting their bat on the ball except for the long ball. They got some guys that are in the top 20 in the league in home runs, but they are just striking out at a prodigious rate. And that's really the key. They're going to have to make some contact. The young man they brought in to replace Freddie Freeman kind of got everybody like this. And I think he left about 10 or 11 men on base over this last weekend series. So we're going to need for him to kind of put his bat on the ball and at least get the ball in play.
Yeah, definitely. The Braves, man, you look at it again, runs scored. Again, they're 19th. They scored like around 170 runs. If you want to take a look at that, the Dodgers has scored 227 runs. So, yeah, the Braves are not, bringing in those runs. Yes, they are doing very well in home runs. With home runs, they're sitting at sixth overall. They got 52, like you said, Jonathan. They do hit the long ball. And just to take a cap at that, who is leading the league? You look at where the Braves are at 52 home runs. Well, you got the Angels. They're at 59 home runs. So this is out of what, like 30 teams, so to speak, in Major League Baseball. So the Braves can't hit the long ball. But I still believe that you got to put the ball on the ground and you got to go and pick the man from first to second, from second to third, and bring him home. You can't always depend on the long ball. So hopefully they'll get all that fixed.
Yeah, no doubt. Hopefully it'll get squared around here because we are now moving to about we're just past the quarter mark of the season, but they're going to have to kind of step it up to get them back in the sensibility. But like you pointed out, and I talked about this earlier, their schedule kind of fits in well. They are playing the Miami again. They're also playing the Phillies. Both of those teams not too good. and the Mets, who got about a 7 or 8 game lead over them right now. Two of their key pitchers are going to be out for a while, Max Scherzer and Jacob deGrom. So I think this is a time to do what you talk about over a 10-game span. If the Braves can maybe go 7-3, Mets, I think, could possibly fall to 4-6 or 3-7. All of a sudden, you're back to within about 4 games with plenty of games to play. So that's what the Braves, I think, are going to need to do to kind of right the ship and get this thing going before. You don't want to go too far down. Even though we know they came back last year, but last year was last year. So, hopefully the Braves will right the ship and get things squared around. The other thing we want to talk about a little bit is what is going on in the NBA playoffs. And I do mean playoffs. So want to get you guys' thought about the playoffs, where it looks like so far. The Boston-Miami series looks like that's the one, tied up 2-2. I want to get both of you guys' opinion. Who do you think is going to win Game 5? Do you think the Celtics have a shot to win Game 5 in Miami that should be the road?
No, I think Miami will win Game 5.
Okay, so
but of course, the Celtics definitely have a shot. I mean, these are the playoffs, so honestly, anybody can win any game. But I do think Miami will win Game 5 at home.
Tyrone, what do you think? You think that Boston can sneak out of Miami with a win, or do you think that the Heat are going to take care of business and win what they have to win at home?
Well, it's between Jimmy Butler and Jason Tatum. Right now, Butler, he's averaging 21 points. And you got Jason, he's averaging 20, 24. But when you look at the overall team play, the Boston Celtics are outscoring the Heat in this series by just more than about 7 points. You look at the rebounds. Boston is out rebounding. Look at the assists. They are actually up over the Heat in assists in this series. And just free throws. Free throws. The Celtics are 81, around 82% when it comes to the free throw. And the Heat, they need to pick it up. They're at like 78. So again, you got to make those free throws. Those are gimme points. So if the Heat keep shooting the free throws like they're shooting, then I think the Celtics can pull away from them. They can win Game 5.
Well, we got a little comment here from social media. Pastor Daniel Fagan, my good brother, pastor of a church right here in Clayton County, he says he thinks the playoffs are rigged. He says too much betting is involved now for these games to be straight.
That's funny.
Well, I tell you,
there's always been betting going on. Now they're just making it more popular and I guess legalizing the betting. But yeah, betting has been going on for many, many, many years.
Tyrone, what do you think about the game? Might be a little something slim shady going on here.
Yeah, I definitely think there is a little bit of incentive to carry it to a Game 6 and a Game 7 because we all know people turn the televisions on more. They go to the bars more. They hold events more at a Game 6 or a Game 7. So, I think it may be a possibility because at the end of the day, it's all about the money. Like the Jerry Maguire, show me the money. So that's what it's all about. Show me the money.
What you have seen is that, I don't know if you guys have seen on Instagram, but they have shown a former NBA ref, basically. I think this is what Brother Fagan is kind of touching on here. They did show a former NBA ref indicating that there was some shenanigans going on with the referees. And if we can remember, a few years ago, it was a big scandal when NBA referee actually went to jail. And he talked about being involved in some point shaving and some stuff going on. So it's not about rounds without possibility, no doubt.
Oh yeah, I mean, I know that's been happening. That's my point. It's been happening for many years, and you can look at a lot of games and you can tell. And I'll even say, okay, somebody's paying this referee because when the games are close, or even if it's not close, and you can tell that they want another team to win, and they make these crazy calls that just absolutely makes no sense in the entire world. It happens in the NBA. It happens in football. I don't watch Major League Baseball. I don't know if it happens there, but I'm pretty sure that it does. And so people get upset a lot of times. So yes, I definitely think it happens. Unfortunately, you have so many people that just care about money, and some people can be paid off and they don't have morals. They just want the money. And so they'll do things for money. But I don't think it's right. But I definitely know for a fact that it does happen.
Yeah, definitely some shady stuff. So, all right, in the other series here, actually, what we'll do is we'll take a quick break and then we'll talk about the Mavs versus Golden State. You're watching the Real Talk Sports Show. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back. Keep it locked right here. Did you know that Allen Vigil Ford in Morrow, Georgia also has Lincoln? Over 35 years of using the Vigil Touch to provide excellent customer service, works hand in hand with the Lincoln Motor Company to provide a luxurious and seamless way to acquire your next luxury vehicle. Lincoln has an array of full-service complimentary owner benefits. These benefits include hospitality partnerships, service pickup and delivery, all which can be accessed through the Lincoln Way app. You can even contact the 24/7 concierge to have someone assist you. Come and see our great inventory of new and pre-owned Lincolns today. Call 678-364-7345 to make an appointment with one of our brand champions or shop 24/7 online at allenvigillincoln.net. The day has arrived. It's time to let more people know about your business. You have the right marketing plan and the messaging in place. But do you have the right messenger? Good advertising and promotions need a professional sound so the message can be clearly understood. Don't leave your brand image to chance. Let our team of voiceover experts at CME lend you a hand. Give us a call at 678-304-8121 to find out how we can partner with you to give your business its voice. We're back here. You're watching Real Talk Sports Show. I have with me the Queen, Tree Dolman, and the champion, Mr. Tyrone Poole, in the building. We're going to talk a little bit more about the NBA playoffs. Your guys' opinion: can the Mavs avoid getting swept, or is it all over for the Dallas Mavericks and Luka Doncic?
Well, Tree, you want to go?
We will put you, ladies.
Sure. I think that they definitely can avoid being swept. I mean, the Dallas Mavericks are a great team, and let's just talk about Luka. I mean, my goodness, that man is amazing. He had 40 points the other night. He is just phenomenal. And I think that if he gets some other teammates who will step up to the plate and help him out, then they definitely can win. I don't know for a fact that they will get swept. It is possible just because of how the Golden State Warriors play. And I just feel that they have so many threats that it doesn't matter if you're double teaming Steph, then you still have Poole and Draymond Green and all these others, and Wiggins, who had an incredible game the other day. So the Golden State Warriors, as I've already stated, that's my pick to actually win the finals this year. And I do not see the Mavericks winning more than possibly 1 or 2 games. But yes, I do think that they can win in a game or two and not get swept from the Golden State Warriors.
For us, Tyrone, I think you are a good brother at fantasy football, Go Strategy. Yeah, the referee was Tim Donaghy, and it's actually that video has been circulating around on Instagram. Tyrone, what do you think? Can the Mavs grab one, or is it all over for Dallas?
You know what? I think it could be all over for the Mavericks. You look at block shots, it's Luka. You look at points, it's Luka. You look at rebounds, it's Luka. You look at assists, it's Luka. He's getting no help. And you look at field goals. The Warriors are out shooting the Mavericks 53 to 41% from the floor. So that's not good. You relying on one guy. So I guess it's all going to be predicated on what Luka has for dinner and how much energy he has to carry the Mavs. But I just think between Curry, Draymond Green, you got Kevon, I would be surprised if the Warriors did not finish off the Mavs. But at the same token, you kind of ask yourself, if you are the Warriors, do you want to finish them off, or do you want to kind of like let them hang around so you continue to play and keep your momentum going? Because right now I feel like that Boston and the Heat, they're going to probably go game 7. So that means you got several more days that you guys are not playing. So if I am the Warriors, you know what? I'll let the Mavs go ahead and win this game. We kind of like just play it chill, let them win, and then we come back and play game 5, game 6. We keep our stroke going. So when we get into the finals, we're going to be playing 2 hot teams, either the Miami Heat or the Boston Celtics. And you don't want to have to wake yourself back up lose game one, and then you struggle game two. So just from a strategic standpoint, hey, let the Mavericks win this one. Shoot, the Patriots, we let the Philadelphia Eagles win the Super Bowl. So, I guess you can let the Warriors can let the Mavericks win.
You definitely did not let the Eagles win the Super Bowl.
Game. Come on now. We all know.
You said
that was a game that was Slim Shady because if you remember that game, you took a guy who was the hero of one of your previous Super Bowls and wouldn't let him put his foot on the field. Guys in tears on the sidelines wouldn't play down. Yes, that game definitely talking about a game that was fixed. And the thing about it is I think Tom Brady threw for almost 500 yards in that game. He was like, well, look, man, I'm going to win it by myself. Of course, he couldn't. But, that game was – I got to agree with Tyrone on that one, man. That was real. Yeah, Bill.
Yeah, I believe what he's saying. But I was going to ask Tyrone because I know for a fact that there has never been an NFL game that you guys have let a team win. Please tell me if I'm wrong, Tyrone. So you went out there and played and said, you know what? Let's not win this game. Let's let this other team win. You actually ever stepped on the field in your professional career and you did that?
No, as a player, I don't think we can do that. I think, but it can happen from the coaching staff. It can happen from the referees.
It can.
Coaches can make bad calls. Like with Detroit, when they were trying, your Detroit Lions, when they were trying to get the first round or the overall first draft pick. I'm like, the offensive coordinator, what kind of plays you calling, man?
What year was this?
So I do believe the players really don't have anything to do with it, but I think the coaches, they can not call the right play calls. Even the fans sitting at home can say, why in the world are they making that call?
I agree. I thought you were saying like the players, like, oh, let's let them win so we can keep playing. Because personally, I just don't see where any athlete is stepping on the court. I don't care if they think the other series is going to 7 or 6.
Oh,
if you can beat a team in 4, you beat a team in 4. One thing that we know in sports is that you never want to let a team think that they can beat you. When you have a team down, you shut it down. And too many times when people start playing, and actually, if you look at the Milwaukee Bucks, they didn't play their starters, right? So they lost that home court advantage, and now look at them, they're out. Had they played their starters in those games, those final games in regular season play, they could have possibly still been playing, right? So we know that different things make a difference, but I just don't see where they're going to say, oh, yeah, well, we'll let them win 1 or 2, and then we'll close it out so that we're not sitting. I just can't see it, but you never know.
Well, I'm gonna try to bring sight to you. All right, I'm gonna put some mud together. I'm gonna put it on your eyes. I'm gonna see if I can make you see. But go back to the Dallas Mavericks. No. What was it? Which game did the Warriors play before they came to the Western Finals? But they were down very bad.
Memphis,
the Grizzlies, and and Stephon Curry. Now, if you try to get back into the game, you got Steph Curry, one of the hottest three-point shooters in the game. Why not feed him the ball? If you go back and look at that game, they were not trying to get the ball to Stephon. They were not trying to get the ball to Steph Curry. They were not trying to get it to him. So what did that tell you? Okay, hey, we're going to let them win this one. Let them have it. So again, you break it down, you can see it when players are not playing.
But see, I think that's different because in that situation, because the score was so low, and then the coach took them out so that because once the game is pretty much lost, it's like, okay. And then they take the star players out so they don't get injured. So I see in that point, but I don't see where they started the game and they're playing throughout the game. I just didn't see that. But
go back and look at that game. Go back and look at
I watched it.
Yeah, go look at it.
I don't know that I could watch it again, but yeah.
They were not feeding him the ball, and they had their starters in there. Okay.
Yeah.
So yes, they gave up on that game. They quit. It's just like you said out of your own mouth. You play to win. Even Herm Edwards said we played to win. So whether you are down 30 points or you're down 3 points, your effort should be the same. And that was not the same effort. So yes, they gave up.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we've been seeing some Slim Shady stuff for years. Tree pointed out, which is true. I mean, you got some real kind of snarky stuff going on. Let's go here to my man Todd. Todd says, okay. He says, let's get what Todd says. He says, I'm going to pass tonight on Talking Sports. Sad day with horrible mass shooting, 18 kids now killed. Y'all have a good night. Yeah, we actually had talked about that, Todd, to open up the show. Yeah, it is very sad that we now have the 18th person that now lost their life. I may talk a little bit about that tomorrow on my ministry broadcast, Clarion Call, just to kind of, kind of break that down some more. But no doubt. But Todd, again, we know that you're in prayer along with us, and we hope and pray again for the condolences to all those families there. So we appreciate you, and we look forward to having you back on next week with hopefully no more reporting of any more bad events, because it seems like literally that's all we talked about this month. It's like every week there's a tragedy. First Buffalo, now this. And we've had some other incidents where, people have lost their lives. So again, we pray along with you, Todd. Yeah. So getting back to basketball. Yeah. I mean, it's just, I don't know. Sometimes stuff just doesn't look right. Where they look like they may be extending games. You kind of ask yourself a question: why would they not play a particular player? Why would a player not get the ball? I mean, I'm still wondering what kind of dysfunctionality was going on with the Suns against the Mavericks. Here you got a young man that you draft is a top 3 lottery pick, a guy who had shown he'd grown over the last 2 years, kind of almost like Trey and DeAndre Ayton, and all of a sudden he's not getting the ball, and there's rumblings from the coach talking about it's an internal situation. So I mean, what could be going on that bad where you would risk losing a series by not getting one of your star players the ball? So yeah, there's definitely some strange stuff that goes on in pro sports that leave me kind of going, why are they going to do that? So hopefully we'll get no more of that.
Well, a lot of things go on in the locker room that people have no clue about, in the stands. And Tyrone can talk about that. So, when they say things like that, I've seen a lot of things. I've heard a lot of things. And there's a lot that goes on that people have no clue about, except for the people that are on the actual team and coaching it.
Yeah, I guess, that, and I think, and we're going to talk about this a little bit when we talk about the Falcons at the end, but I think that's kind of maybe the mindset behind some of the picks that the Falcons made. And Tyrone, we talked about last week, trying to get that whole kind of family atmosphere and get guys that are on one page. And, yeah, well, like I said, again, hopefully and prayerfully, we can kind of get that under control, and we'll see things get better. All right, let's shift a little bit now into one of our favorite sports, football. All right, if you guys, before we do that, let's go to social media. We got, here we go. Sinead Forrest. He said, what's up, y'all? BYC family, BWC fam is in the house. Well, God bless BWC, bro. We appreciate you, bro.
Breakfast with Champion. What's going on, my man?
There we go.
Thank you.
Thank you because I was like this. I was like, I guess this is the Bad Women's Club, Boston whereabouts. I didn't know what to do. So thank you, Tyrone, for helping me out. Straighten that out. All right. We have a situation going on in college football called the NIL conundrum. That's what I want to call it. For those of you who have been asleep, Nick Saban, kind of the grand poobah of coaches, was what we call throwing punches everywhere, throwing shade everywhere, as he took a shot at 2 programs that did quite well last year: Jackson State under Deion Sanders and Texas A&M under coach, I'm drawing a blank right now, Jimbo Fisher. He first claimed that Deion and the folks at Jackson State broke off about $1 million to get young Mr. Hunter, who was right here from Raptor Road here in Atlanta, actually played for Collins Hill High School, the number 1 high school team in the nation, claimed that Deion and Jackson State paid him $1 million. And then turned around and said, just so you know, I'm not prejudiced towards one or the other, slammed Texas A&M and said they bought every one of their recruiting class. I want to just kind of get some feedback. First of all, Tree, what did you think about the comments by Saban, especially those directed at Jackson State?
Well, I think that he was wrong for making those comments. You definitely shouldn't make comments without knowing what you're talking about when you're making them in the public platform that he spoke on. And if he wanted to reference it, then he could say, I think that they did this or this and that. But for him to just put it out there as he knew, And he definitely shouldn't have called out anybody. If he has a problem with the NIL deals, then he should just speak in those terms. But calling out the two coaches and the two programs, I think, was definitely not good. A good look on his part. And I think that he definitely is trying to retract it, but it's out there. And so the coaches have said that he's tried to reach out to them privately and personally, but I agree with Deion Sanders where he said, if you want to talk, we can talk publicly. Since you put it out there publicly, you can apologize publicly and do all of that publicly. But I definitely think that he was in the wrong.
Tyrone, your thoughts about Nick Saban and throwing the shot at, first of all, at Deion and Jackson State?
Well, I'm gonna talk about the overall thing. It's not just a Nick Saban thing; it's just a major problem. And I'm gonna take everybody back to prohibition. Prohibition. And I kind of looked this up. I was very interested in this thought here about the NIL. Okay, and what I mean is they're basically taking something that was illegal and they're just trying to make it legal now. So you go back during the prohibition, they had moonshiners, right? And back during the moonshine days, and I looked this up. I'm like, wow, really? Back in the day, they could get $25 for a gallon of moonshine. Okay. Now, just to give you a kind of an update of what that really is, today, in today's money, that would be $325 a gallon. Okay. So the government said, wow, they're making a lot of money. So we need to find some kind of way to tax these guys. All right. Make it legal. Make it, yeah, that's right. Let's make it legal. So let's make moonshining, legal, alcohol legal. Now we can get money from it. Now, fast forward, you got NILs. Same thing. They were doing it illegal. All right. Now, here's an opportunity for us to make money as an institution, as a government. All right. So you take a look at football. All right. BYU. All right. They have a deal with Built Bar, and all 136 Brigham Young football players, that's scholarship players and walk-ons, can earn up to $1,000 as brand ambassadors. Okay, and then you take the Texas offensive line. The Texas offensive line, they have an NIL deal. $800,000, all right, that is given to them by another nonprofit organization. So $50,000 go to each 16 of the Texas offensive linemen, okay, on scholarship. And the list goes on.
Did you say $50,000?
Yeah, $50,000 to each of the 16 offensive linemen at the University of Texas. And you look at Miami. The Miami Hurricanes, right? University of Miami football, NIL deal, $540,000. All right, $540,000. That's an annual deal. A line of fitness centers in South Florida. Florida is offering every University of Miami football player $500 per month to endorse the gym. So come on, people. This ain't about Deion and Nick Saban. This is something that basically it is to a point where the rabbit got the gun now. So the rabbit got the gun. So everybody now trying to bark. But this thing, illegal, whatever, has been happening for so many years. You go all the way back to SMU. SMU, it was noted. They actually did a show about how they were like just ruthless. Not talking about ruthless records with Eazy-E, God rest his spirit, but the SMU was ruthless. They were ruthless. So they got caught. They got the death penalty. So I believe the NCAA said, you know what, we don't want no more programs to get the death penalty. So what we're going to do, we're going to find a way to legalize this thing. All right? And so come on, man, it's bigger than that. It's just like the Colin Kaepernick thing. It's bigger than that, man. But Nick Saban and Deion Sanders, they are the headliners. All right? But man, that's just, to me, like magicians. What makes magic work is deception. So all this is a deception. Nick Saban, Deion Sanders, but really the underlying thing is, man, they just making this thing, they begin to have problems, so to speak. The rabbit got the gun now. So this is a great way for HBCUs to fund their program and come up. So that's just me talking.
Let's go to social media real quick. Fancy Football hit me up. Said actually Nick took a shot, Texas A&M first, Miami second, then Jackson State. He said Jackson State was kind of like a throw-in for all his comments. Well, speaking of Miami, I'm going to see if I can get this clip here. I had the opportunity to cover the first kind of major tournament of games here in Atlanta. They do for high school every year called the Corky Kell Classic. There's a young man. He's in the top 4, was one of the top 4 recruits here in the city of Atlanta. Actually, let me say that. He's one of the top 4 recruits in the Southeast. Let's just see if we can get a little feedback from him. This is Ja'Cory Brown from down in the South.
You said you got to say this about Alabama before you go to that video. The quarterback, Bryce Young, he got an NIL deal for $800,000. So Nick Saban need to be quiet, man.
Uh-oh. Let's go to Ja'Cory Brown, see if we can get his comments on why he picked the college that he picked.
All right, guys, we're here at the Corky Kell Classic getting things wrapped up, and this young man has been kind of almost the star of the show here, but he's going to introduce himself to you right now.
I'm Ja'Cory Brown from Lowndes High, and I play quarterback.
Look, man, it's got to be pretty exciting for you being here at the Corky Kell Classic.
Right.
What does it mean now you're a senior and getting ready to move on, I guess, to the U? Is that what I heard?
Yes, sir. 305, baby.
So what does it mean to be in this classic, in the same classic where the first time ever an out-of-state team Hoover is in the mix?
I can say last year they missed us last year. We could have played them last year, but it's a great feeling to be in this classic. I mean, more or less just to get the football feeling back in the Mercedes-Benz, a place where I dream to be playing at on the next level. So I mean, just it's a great feeling to have football back.
Now I hear that you kind of got used to being on the big stage as a little guy, that you played in the Georgia Dome when you were like 10 on the league.
Yeah, yes, sir. I played. I don't know. I was probably about 6. We were the All-Stars, and that's probably every kid from a grade above me and that's in the class before me right now, and we all play together on the same Pee Wee team.
I hear everybody talk about your leadership. Kind of what are the 3 keys for you as you continue now to lead this team in your senior year?
Really just leading and by example and being more vocal and just overcoming adversity and not letting our team get too down on each other. And we're all going to make mistakes. We're young, so I mean everybody's not going to be perfect. So I mean you can't please everybody. And I mean instead of proving everybody wrong, just prove yourself right.
How exciting is it for you to come out in this time where finally now athletes as collegians can now get a little money, NILs? Are you excited about going to a place like the U?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's no place like the U. There's no brand like the U. And I mean, there's a lot of good money down there. And I mean, as great as I play, I mean, I should make way more figures than money than.
Well, I know you and your family are going to be happy about that. Listen,
absolutely.
One more time, your name, your school, and the number if you want to watch the Corky Kell Classic and zoom in on you.
Ja'Cory Brown, Lowndes High, number 11, quarterback to the U.
Thank you, sir.
We saw that at the end. Hit on all the points. Number one, he said one of the things that he likes about it, the U has its own big brand. Talked about the idea of what he could get. And again, I'm not begrudging anybody, but we can see this was last year. The NIL is something that's big and not going to go away. Let's go to social media real quick and get the comments there. Our friend from Fantasy Football, GOAT Strategies, he says Nick's comments were designed to actually trigger the boosters who were in attendance. He said basically the other big schools and even the small schools are spending big upfront. Why aren't we? And I guess you mean by we, the HBCUs. Yeah, man, look, at the end of the day, the whole thing is what Tyrone kind of touched on, basically. The problem is that when the SEC was bullying everybody, when they were getting all the 5-star recruits to come there, they were trying to create this super conference. They were talking about the Power Fives moving away from under the jurisdiction of the NCAA, that they would kind of manage themselves. Now, suddenly, when a situation where they can't control the money, where they can't control even boosters to some degree, now they're going back to NCAA, which now they don't have any teeth anymore, and now actually going back to the federal government saying we need some parameters and guidelines and restrictions. And really, it's all because of the fact that they realize that if they can't stop the train now, they could be in a situation that schools, smaller schools, HBCUs, are able now to bring in top quality athletes if they have the type of boosters. So remember, this thing was at a booster club meeting. These boosters spent a lot of money. Look, I worked for a man that was suspended from the school that he worked with for a year because he said, hey, back in the day, we used to kind of slip the kids some money. He said he used to pass the helmets around. They throw just like us preachers from time to time, pass around the hat. That's what they were doing. So this, you hit it right. This is nothing new. Tyrone, you talked about SMU scandal. To this day, Eric Dickerson, Hall of Famer, will not talk about it. If you ask him a question about SMU, he's like, so, yeah, man.
I don't blame him. But I mean, I've been saying since my freshman year in college that college athletes should get paid. So I'm happy that players can make money off of their name, image, and likeness, because the schools have been making multi-millions and billions of dollars off of the players for I don't know how long, and the schools are still making money off of them, which is not a problem, right? So you're getting the attendance and parking and the jerseys and all these things. So the schools are still going to make millions of dollars. And the players, though, when you are a college athlete, you are not able to work. At least you did not used to be able to get a job. And even if you could get a job, who has time to work? I mean, you have class, you have weights, you have meetings, you have study hall, practice, games, travel. You can't work, right? And so I am happy, because this is something that I have been advocating since I've been in college, that students should be able to make money off of, well, I was just saying where the school will pay them. Of course, I was not talking about them making $500,000 and $50,000, but the fact that it's able to happen, more power to the kids. I'm not upset about it. I know that a lot of the college coaches now just have a problem because they're looking at recruiting. But I think the bigger issue is not just recruiting, but it's also because we have this transfer portal, which also did not exist when I was in college. So if I went to a school, I was not able to just transfer. And if I did, you lost a year of eligibility. Now kids can transfer wherever they want, how many times they want in the transfer pool, which I think really you could just do it once a year. But my point is, now it's just easy for them to just move and have no loyalty to any school. And then also they can just make money however they like with the agents and boosters. And, you know, like you said, the fitness clubs that's paying them $500 a month to endorse. I mean, what athlete wouldn't do that? If I was a student, I would do it because you love working out anyway. So I'm happy that the players are able to make money while they're in college, and it's a big can that's been opened.
Yeah, I mean, if the colleges hadn't been so greedy, it would never happen like this. I mean, this is their fault. I mean, the problem, all this stuff is caused by them. Just the money ramped up to an astronomical amount over the last 50 years. Coaches talking about the transfer portal. Well, how many times do we hear about a coach signing a 4 or 5 year contract, and in 2 years into the contract, school X with a lot more panache offers? I mean, he's back in front of students. Well, you know, there's an opportunity I can't pass up for me and my family. So I mean, come on. I mean, it's all about what they used to call it. NCAA would find a team lack of institutional control, and that's kind of what these guys want. They want control of this money. They want control of the athletes, and they see it slipping away from them now. So everybody's in a panic mode. And do I think there should be some guidelines about when you should go in the portal? I think so, but I think there also should be some guidelines about a coach that he can't just jump up and leave. If he signs a contract, he's made promises to the players parents. You can't just jump up and leave, buddy. Maybe you should take a year off and sit down. How do you like that? Yeah, I have to slow some coaches down from jumping all over the place. So, anyway, actually, I just think the NILs, you know, it gets back to what Tyrone touched upon earlier. It's a way bigger picture. It's because you have billions of dollars at stake. You're talking about TV contracts, because this is what gets now. It's like this spider web. Because now teams thinking, okay, that's why they seem to jump in conferences, because the Big Ten teams are getting XYZ amount per team, but the SEC teams are getting more because their TV contract is valued more. What's going to happen if no TV group is going to want to spend a lot of money if they're thinking that these premier universities no longer have control over the marquee athletes? They're going to say, why are we going to lock into a 5 or 6 year deal? We don't even know if we're going to be able to keep these kids anymore. See, there's a lot at stake here, and I think that it's going to get down to what they're doing now, getting the federal government involved. You might see the NCAA get back to not the same strength they had before, but some type of where they have more teeth to do things. But, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Not going to wait. And one last thing I'm going to say. I think this whole thing between Nick Saban and Deion is more smoke than fire. Because I just can't believe that these two guys are doing all these commercials and everybody's having a good time, and suddenly Saban out of nowhere decided to blow them up. I think that I'm a conspiracy guy. I'm thinking that Nick Saban actually did this to help Jackson State recruit, HBCUs recruit, because now we're feeling some kind of way. Because what Tyrone, give me that quote. What did Deion say about paying players to come there? What did he say? What's that quote?
I forgot it, but it's something about we don't have to pay our people to come play for our people.
Hup.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, so Yeah. Our people don't have to. He said, our people don't have to pay our people to come play for our people.
And you don't think that's going to be a rallying cry right now all around the country's HBCUs and other guys that before maybe wouldn't donate to an HBCU? They're saying, oh, he's right. So I'm just thinking, I wouldn't be shocked if old Nick and Dion on the side say, hey, man, you need to stir the pot a little bit. I'm
I
just saying.
think also what this could lead to as well, some of the top HBCU programs. I'm gonna take it back to a little bit of Georgia high school football. You got a high school called Buford. Buford, they were so good that they were able to step up and challenge some of those 5A, 6A schools. That's how good they were. So you're going to end up getting some of these HBCU schools. They're going to become so good. It's going to be like when USC came out to play Alabama. Talk about college football now. And USC was full of pretty much our people on the team. And they came and put a whipping on Alabama. So, I don't think they want that anymore. They don't want to be shown up by HBCU. So let's stop that train before it gets going.
Oh, no doubt, because none of these guys see right now. It's been kind of the gentlemanly thing to do to schedule an HBCU to come play in your university, to get them a nice check, and to let all your people see how the HBCUs get down with the band and all of the entertainment. Well, they ain't want to do that now. They're not going to want to do that once these guys really start getting great teams. They'll be, like Tyrone said, we can leave them off the schedule, because it gets now more exposure for these teams that helps them all recruit, because that's what the big games do. It's a marquee thing. So, yeah, it's going to be we're in a very interesting time, kind of a fun
And
time.
not just that. I mean, Deion Sanders, everything that he did at Jackson State University, he helped himself get recruits. So it has nothing to do with Nick Saban and everybody else. He was the one that was selling out the stadiums, and everything that he was doing was bringing the media and marketing and the crowd. So naturally, when players are playing, they're seeing it on television, they're hearing about it, so they want to go and be a part of that. And who also would not want to go to a program where you have a Pro Football Hall of Fame player who is phenomenal, and he's doing all of these great things for his players? If you're a football player, you're thinking, hey, I would love to go be a part of this program, and just seeing the great things that he's doing in the community. And it's also, again, the marketing, and he's going to get more games televised. So I think that just what Deion Sanders has done with what he has done at Jackson State University with the team in itself would have any great recruit wanting to go to Jackson State University.
Yeah, Travis Hunter is the tip of the iceberg, because, like I mentioned, he was the number one overall recruit in the country. The guy's an absolute beast. So, yeah, if he can come in there and ball out, which it looks like he's going to do, it's only going to bring more top players to come out to schools like Jackson State. And Tyrone, to even speak a little bit to your question, we've already seen the small shift in migration, not necessarily going to the major conferences, but we saw the three-time Celebration Bowl champion North Carolina A&T move to the Big South. We saw Hampton University make a move out. So clearly, this kind of sensibility is there. These guys think, look, we're getting to the point now where we need to be on an even bigger stage. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens here with the NIL, because this is only the beginning of stuff that's going to go on.
And look at the schools here in Georgia. I'm not going to say any names, who was actually paying, and I'm talking about high schools, paying players, purchasing homes, all kind of things that was going on with basketball in the high schools. So, they do it with football as well, but I just know about it with a lot of the basketball programs. And again, I'm not saying any school names, because we all know, those who know what was going on, they actually did get caught. But so, yeah.
Oh yeah, well listen, there's been all that kind of stuff going on. I mean, there was a big scandal when Mays went to the state finals. They were the first high school team to start a whole offensive line with 300 pounders. Well, I know from being kind of close to that program, people had to they had to find the loopholes in addresses and how people live. People all of a sudden were living with their grandmama and them, because they had to make sure the residency requirements were met. I know of a woman who, at the request of her daughter, said, listen, Mom, I want to play for School X on the north side. And the mom actually spent money to rent a condominium in the school district so everything was legal. And then, I don't know how they did this, basically took custody of her daughter's best friend so she could play on the same team and have everything legal. So there's no doubt that people are all into sports and all into winning, and people do whatever they can, most of them legally, to try to get what they need to get done. So yeah, man, it's going to be very, very interesting to see what goes on with this whole NIL thing. And I think we're just only at the beginning of lawsuits and legislation and all kind of angst before this dust settles. So and we're going to bring it to you right here on the Real Talk Sports Show. Well, the other thing we like to do is we always like to also bring out the good things that are going on in the community. So we have a young woman right here on our show that is doing something big, 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 big. And I'll let her talk to you again this week about one of her favorite things, about brain cancer awareness. And I hope I got it right. Go great for the cause. Do I have that right?
Go great for a cure.
Great for a cure. Okay, close. All right. Tree Dolman, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you, Jonathan. I want everybody to know that May is Brain Cancer and Brain Tumor Awareness Month. I did start a nonprofit organization called Go Great for a Cure. It's in memory of my husband, my beloved husband, my handsome husband, my love of my life, the Pro Football Hall of Famer, Chris Dolman, who passed away from a glioblastoma, which is the most aggressive type of brain tumor that there is. And he was a 2-year cancer survivor right before he passed away. And so I started this organization so that we can raise funds, raise awareness for life-saving brain cancer research. Right now, there's only about 5 medications that are legalized and 1 device for people who have brain tumors, and specifically glioblastoma, which is the most aggressive again and cancerous. And so I have a virtual 5K that's going on right now until May 31st. The funds, again, are going to life-saving brain cancer research. There are also over 200,000 people living with brain tumors, and a lot of people don't even know that they have brain tumors. A lot of people don't know about signs and warnings and symptoms. So if you have headaches or you have problems with vision or you're not seeing straight, there's just so many different things. Stroke-like symptoms. That's actually what my husband had. So he had a little droop on the left side of his mouth. And so I took him to the hospital, and that's how we found out he had a brain tumor. But there's just a lot that needs to go on with education and just letting people know so that we can save lives. Early detection will definitely help people so that the brain tumors are not continuing to grow. And so if you would like to be a part and walk for a cure, you can go to runsignup.com/Go Gray for a Cure 5K, or you can go to any of my social medias. We're also on social media with Go Gray for a Cure on all Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. The links are on all of those pages where you can just click the link and sign up. It is $25 to walk or run. And again, it's virtual, so you can be anywhere. You can do it at any time between now and the 31st. We also have an option of where, if you would like, for $5, you can purchase one of the t-shirts with the logo for our 5K walk/run. And then you also get a drawstring bag and pay for shipping, which is $5.95. So I appreciate everybody who has signed up. I appreciate everybody who has donated. I appreciate everybody who has told someone else or followed or liked one of our posts. I thank you, Jonathan. I saw that you signed up to walk, and I appreciate that, because all of this is for my hubby, and I do all of this in honor of him and in memory of him. It's a very tough month for me, very emotional. Like every time I'm doing the posts and everything, it's just hard to get through it because I can't stop crying. But I just know that my husband is proud of the work that I'm doing, because he and I together wanted to find a cure for brain cancer, and we feel that we will have a cure. There's actually been some positive medications that have been getting close to being legalized with the FDA, and so I'm hoping that all of those things do come to pass. And thank you for putting that on the screen. But yeah, so please join us for our virtual 5K. Again, the nonprofit organization is Go Great for a Cure. We are a 501c3. So all of your donations and your $25 registration fee is tax deductible. So please join me and walk for a cure. And I appreciate, again, everybody for your support.
There you go, guys. You can follow her right there. There's her social media handles. And again, if you want to just go sign up, I've actually posted it on all the social media posts. There it is on Twitch. There it is on YouTube and also on Facebook. So you can go ahead and just actually click on the link and it should take you right to the website like it took me. And you guys will be able to be a part of it. I signed up for the whole, whatever I could. I got the whole package. I got the virtual run-in. I got the little swag bag that goes with it, a little T-shirt, everything. And then,
Yes, thank
you know, to let you know, it made sure it must be OG on this. So they had a little thing. You had to sign a waiver. Say, hey, man, if you get out here and fall out, you know, just joking. But I have to worry about it 'cause I'm doing everything virtually. So I can just kind of, just like when I watched Tyrone was sweating. I'm like, yeah, I'm in my house. I was kind of, you know, semi-sweating along with him. You know, he was like, work that thing. I was kind of, you know, doing a little something, something, you know.
Well, I
But
thank you and I appreciate it.
no,
For
it's good
everybody
stuff.
who signed up, if you don't sign up for another team, you can join my team. My team is Chris Dolman Forever. So walk with us, run with us, and it's all for my hubby. So Jonathan, I thank you for walking and sweating, and think of Tyrone, how he works his thing, and you were out there working your thing. So that is greatly appreciated.
Try to make it do what it's doing. We appreciate you and all the stuff that you're doing. Appreciate basically we have so many listeners. You know, Tyrone does a lot of great stuff in the community himself. That's the one thing I love about this show. We have a lot of people connected to the show, either on with us or you know behind the scenes as viewers. Tyrone got a chance to talk to a couple of guys from Clubhouse, a guy called the Bishop, and he's doing some great stuff with a Christian football league. So yeah, man, there's a lot of great stuff that's going out there, and I'm just so appreciative that the Lord has allowed me to connect with people like that. We're going to take a quick little break, and then we're going to talk some more professional football, talk about what's going on with the Falcons. But you got to keep it locked right here. You're listening to the Real Talk Sports Show. We'll be back in just a momento. Don't go nowhere. Thank you.
This is OJ Howard with Real Talk Sports.
What's up, guys? This is Tim Tebow. You're listening to Real Talk Sports.
This is Charles Woodson. Let me grab the mic. You ready? This is Charles Woodson with Real Talk Sports. Hey, it's your boy JB Smooth with Real Talk Sports.
All right, guys, we're back here as we get ready to wrap it up here. Again, so appreciative to our co-host, the Queen, Tree Dolman, pushing past through the difficulties she has with her own pain in this month to say, I'm going to pour it out to other people and doing literally what they talk about, shifting pain into purpose. I'm going to put up here on the ticker on the bottom while the show is on so you guys can see it. Here it is right here. That is the website. Go to that link and you'll be able to be a part of the run. Like I mentioned again, you don't have to run. You don't have to walk if you're not in shape. You can go ahead and do it all virtually. Go on your treadmill and just, you know, count up the miles and we'll be good. Or if you can't do that, buy a T-shirt. You know, sometimes when you say, I went there and got the T-shirt, so you can do that. Or if you don't want to do any of that, just send some money. Money is always good. It all goes to the cause. So whatever you want to do, there's a link right underneath. You guys check it out and please be a part of it. All right. The NFL camps are kind of moving forward. We had the rookie camp. Now we have the OTAs. And I'm going to go to expert, a guy who's actually been there, done that. Tyrone, could you explain to people really quickly what OTAs mean?
Yeah, well, we forgot about the Luka and Trey Young as well now.
Okay, well, hang on a second. Before we do that, let's ask that question. All right.
Yeah.
Luka or Trey? There's been a lot of scuttlebutt back and forth. I see a lot of Falcons fans talking about, well, not Falcons fans, Falcons haters saying, hey, the Hawks got short shaded on the trade. Doncic's way better. What is your thoughts, Luka versus Trey? Who do you think got the better end, or is it a push? Tree, will go to you first.
Oh, you go to me first. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Ladies first.
Well, honestly, I think that when you're looking at a team, you can't just look at how great a player is. You also want to look and see if they fit in your system. And I think that Luka is a phenomenal player. I mean, he's just seriously amazing. I just wonder, because of me watching him with the Dallas Mavericks, and he pretty much runs the show himself, and He does pass the ball a little more than Ja. Like Ja really just acts like he's the entire team. But Luka, I will see where he does pass the ball some and gets it back. But I don't know really that he would be a great fit for our Atlantic Hawks just because we have more players here where we move the ball, and I don't know if he really fits with the coaching scheme. But I can see how a lot of players would think just because of his numbers that he's better. But I think that Trey's a really good fit for the Atlanta Hawks. And that's just my perception of it. But of course, Luka's unstoppable, right? And we see that Trey, he's a great shooter. Luka's going to score more, I think. I think Trey will eventually get there, but I don't know. I think Trey is a good fit for the Atlanta Hawks, but I can see how some people are looking like, oh, we had Luka, we could have had him. So just looking at his performance in Dallas, I could see how a lot of fans would want him here instead of Trey.
All right, champion Tyrone Poole, your thoughts? Trey versus Luka.
Yeah, Trey versus Luka. Who I got? I'm going with Luka. Number one, I'm like, he's a guard. He reminds me of Magic Johnson. Trey's a point guard as well. Luka is a shooting guard and point guard. So I'm like, when you go and you look at, you want your player to play at their best. Yes, both of them were first-round draft pick. Trey Young was first round, fifth overall, and Luka was third overall. They're both, very young. But when I go and I look at, okay, who shows up when the game is on the line? That's what I'm looking at. So when I go back and I look at what Trey did against the Heat, all right, 41 minutes, all right. The first game, I believe, 41 minutes, 11 points, 9 points, 24 points, okay. Then I go and I look at what Luka, we seeing Luka is carrying the Mavericks. This dude, 40 points. 42 points. He shot for 20 points last game he played. So, anyways, I'm going to take Luka. All my hat goes off to Trey, but I'm looking at performance, man. And right now, Luka is outperforming Trey, and I'm going to go with Luka. The stats don't lie.
That's true.
Yeah, no doubt. I think it's the problem is that trade. If we look at the trade, the problem is that the Hawks blew up the other part of the trade, which made it favorable to them. Now, of course, Trias told me repeatedly, you can't keep a player in the locker room that doesn't want to be there. But at the end of the day, once they got rid of and traded to New York, the other half of that trade, it now is just a straight Trey against Luka. And up to this point, Luka has been, especially in the bigger games, a bit more dominant consistently. That's what the difference is. The Trey's had his huge moments. I mean, we saw in the Eastern Conference Final Game 1, he dropped 48 and 11. So we don't want to make it seem like the guy can't play in the big moments. However, it's been the consistency and really was only for the first time exposed against Miami.
No, go ahead. Consistency. I love that word, consistency. Go ahead.
That's because in Miami, it was the first series that the Hawks played in big games where Trey was consistently held in check. Up to that point, a team would hold him in check for a game, and he would be back handling his business after that. But Miami seemed to find the key to lock him down, and he really was ineffective. And to some degree, looked like he took him out of the game. Now, I don't know if he was dealing a little bit with that bang up that he had in game 3 or 4. He didn't really seem to be 100% after that. But like he said, he's not going to make any excuses. Luka's been banged up. He's wearing that tape on his shoulder. So at the end of the day, as far as consistent play, from what the short sample size we've seen in postseason, Luka has certainly been able to rise to the occasion more often, or I should say more consistently than Trey. So at this point, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was agreeing with you.
Right. So at this point, just straight head-to-head. Say again? Tyrone, did I lose you?
No, I'm here. No,
yeah, so at the end of the day, to me, if Cam Reddish is still on the Hawks, it's a no-brainer. The Hawks win that trade all day long because Cam Reddish, I think, at some point is going to turn out to be an outstanding player. But with just the Luka on Trey up to this point, it's not a huge edge, but slight edge has to go to Luka because he has been consistently the better player when the chips have been on the line. So,
yeah, he has been. I will say that when I watch him play, I shake my head And I think, is he really that old? I'm just always amazed at how young he is and how well he plays. And when you look at his shots, I mean, it's just like, wow, it's nothing but net. It's not touching rim. I mean, he's definitely a phenomenal player.
And keep in mind, this is a young man that did not just have, like Trey had, 1 year of college. This guy's been playing in the top Euro leagues. I think it was since he was 16. So clearly, it shows on his play on the field. So, yeah, right now on the one-on-one, no Cam Reddish involved. Yeah, right now the Hawks are on the short end of that stick, but that could all change because one thing Trey has shown his ability to bounce back after he has been in a couple of lackluster situations. So we're going to find out and see what happens as we go forward with Mr. Young and Mr. Doncic. Well,
that's
speaking
the thing, though, Jonathan, you can't be up and down, man. You can't be up and down. Me personally, I know you have some off times, but you're gonna find your superstars they're not gonna have a lot of off times. They're gonna play at that same level every time. You can't make excuses for people. You know, they got to play. If you are the superstar on the team, you got to show up regardless if nobody else shows up. You can't play at the level of the energy that's on the team. The leader's supposed to raise up everybody's play. So I'm like Luka. I'm like, put him around, Cam Reddish, and I'm like, I think, the guy just needs help. I think if Luka had help with the Mavericks, I think they could actually do some things. But like I said, he's doing everything. So I'll take Luka. That's my guy. He's a 6'7" Magic Johnson right now.
Well, yeah, and the thing about Luka, which is always the thing when you have a big man versus a small man. See, Luka can get his shots without as much work as Trey. Trey, a lot of times to score his points, he has to exert a lot of effort. Except those games where he's really firing all cylinders from. No. When I say that, if you watch him, he has to exert a lot of effort going through screens and picks and dribbling to score his points. With Luka, it doesn't have to really do that because he's a bigger man. I mean, he can do things that Trey just can't physically do. Trey can't post a guy up down in the paint. It's really not possible because he's 6'1", 175 pounds. Where Luka can actually back a man down and score points that way. In addition to having similar range that Trey has from the outside. So that's what I said from initially. It's hard to have a smaller man be able to be as efficient oftentimes as a big man that have similar skills, and their skills are similar. He can dribble. He can't dribble. He can't shake and bake people like Trey, but he is a good dribbler. He is darn close to being a similar passer, and certainly he's a much better rebounder because of his physical size. So, I mean, it's just tough. Now, all that being said, I go back to when people ask me about Larry Bird. I said, listen, at the end of the day, if Trey can be an Isaiah Thomas to a Larry Bird, the Hawks will take that all day because what I do think that he does here in Atlanta, he brings an energy to the fan base, which I'm not quite sure that Luke would have been able to do at the same level. And so
I say this, Jonathan, all that would be good, what you're saying, if there was never an Allen Iverson. So all that stuff you trying to cook, I'm not eating it. Allen Iverson, he was actually shorter than Trey Young. Okay, so come on, and he led the league and took the 76ers to the championship. So all that you serving, Jonathan, pushing it back to you. So if there was never no Allen Iverson, then I probably could buy what you selling, but I'm not buying it, man.
Again, I'm gonna say what I said earlier. I appreciate your Allen Iverson comparison, but I'm comparing guys that have won championships. And Allen Iverson, although he was without a doubt, without a doubt, one of the most spectacular players we've ever seen in the NBA, especially at that height, the number of championships he has is zero.
We're not talking about championship. We're talking about athletic skills, okay? Because it does take a team. We're talking about athletic skills. They both are the same. They're just like comparing me to Darryl Green. That is a good comparison. That's why when I came out, they compared me to Darryl Green, okay? You see it all the time. They compare somebody to the likeness of somebody already doing it or had done it. So I'm comparing Trey Young, everything being equal. I think that is the best comparison. Allen Iverson. Okay, they both quick. They both shoot. Allen had to work hard too. But I think it's a different type of mentality that Allen Iverson had that Trey Young doesn't have.
Not yet. There's no doubt. And really, if I had to, even though he's a little bit taller, to me, the guy who's getting like AI is really the kid over in Memphis, Ja Morant. That's because that guy, he plays with that kind of over the rim. See, Trey is not over the rim guy. I mean, Allen Iverson was a guy that could do like Ja Morant. He could dunk on you. Trey ain't dunking on nobody, bro. That's not happening. And that's why I compared him more to Isaiah Thomas than to AI, who, like I said, he has much more. His game to me, Ja Morant's game is more like AI than Trey. Yeah, Trey's going to, and at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying anything bad. I'm not saying AI versus this, but I'm saying to me, Trey is the kind of guy that could be an Isaiah Thomas, and he could take a team to a championship. That's what I believe.
But
And,
Isaiah had help. Let's not forget that. Allen
right.
Iverson didn't have that much help. So again, if you want the type of player that Trae Young is, I don't compare him to Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas was good, but Isaiah Thomas was more of a complete player. You know, he basically wanted to pass the ball. He set his guys up. He take his shot. I compare Allen Iverson to Trae Young because Trae Young wants to shoot the ball just as much as he want to pass the ball. So that I think is a fair comparison with AI. He want to shoot the ball more than he passed the ball. Okay, I consider Isaiah more of a complete guy. He gonna take his shot when it's open, but he gonna look to dish it off.
Okay, now you are aware that Trey did lead the league in assists, and he also led the league in total points scored. We're aware of that, right? That's what we did this year. He led the league in total points scored and total assists dished out. So I mean, I don't.
We'll do it every year, Jonathan. Use your big word, Jonathan. Consistency.
Right, and that's what I said to begin the whole thing. Darn it, that's what I said.
All the time.
I can't fool with you, man.
Yeah.
I don't see you on Clubhouse, but I can't fool with you no more. All right, let's go to those daggone Falcons. Let's go to them Falcons before we get off the air. I know the guys in the Falcons page gonna kick me off. Say, look here, man, you put your show on the page. You ain't said one thing about those daggone Falcons. We're gonna say it real quick, guys, before we go. So, Tyrone, circling back to that question, what if people see the word OTAs? What does that mean? What's actually going on the camp? What's happening?
Basically, it's no tackling. It's just over the air. They're doing everything over the air. That's what OTA stands for, over the air.
So that means no tackling, no pad. You just kind of almost like a glorified walkthrough. Am I understanding that right?
Yeah, just over the air. Everything is done basically without physical play.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Over OTAs, over the air.
Over the air. See, I never knew what that meant. I was like, what the heck that mean? OTA? What's it mean? So over the air, guys, you got it. That means no tackling, none of that kind of stuff going on. All right, looking at the Falcons here, we know we've discussed in previous weeks their draft picks. There's been a lot of buzz, which is kind of strange to me because, as you mentioned, this is over the air and there's no pads. But there's a lot of buzz about Desmond Ridder, his leadership capacity. Could he be the starter sooner rather than later? So I'll throw it out to you, Tyrone. How quickly do you think Desmond Ridder could end up being a starter for these Atlanta Falcons?
Depends on how fast he can pick up the playbook. Simple as that. How fast he can pick up the playbook. If he can't pick it up in enough time, any coach is going to allow him, well, any good coach would allow a player to grasp the playbook first. Because if you bring a guy in and he doesn't know all of the playbook, now you're putting your team at a disadvantage. So I've seen where Peyton Manning came in and he was the starter from Jump Street. Okay, and we had some veteran guys on there at quarterback, but because Peyton was able to grasp the playbook, he was able to go out there faster. So it's all about how fast can he grasp the playbook.
Tree, what do you think about the idea of Mr. Ridder getting a shot and how fast you think he might be in terms of getting to be a starter on these Atlanta Falcons?
Well, I love the fact that he may get a shot, and it sounds like he probably will get a shot. I've always been one who I could care less if you're a rookie or a veteran. I think that the best person needs to be out there. Sometimes you get rookies who come in and they're just at a different level. They give 110% while they're on the field and in practice. And they're also doing kind of like, it's funny how he mentioned Peyton Manning, because that's what I was going to say, is just how one of the things that separated Peyton Manning from a lot of other quarterbacks was how much time that he spent on his own, studying the game, studying film, studying apparently his playbook. But he did not just do the things that he did in practice. And you see how it correlated into the great player that he became. So I'm happy that Ridder looks like he will be our starting quarterback pretty soon. And who knows how quickly, but I do think that it will be within the first possibly 2 or 3 games. That's what I'm thinking. But I'm looking forward to it. I think that he will be a quarterback that will be good for the city of Atlanta. I think that he will bring in a lot of fans. And a lot of people have already been watching him from what he was doing in college. And so I do think that he will be part of that spark that they want to see here. But then I think also with how we know this season is, well, I'm sorry, Tyrone, how we know this season will go. Not you, Jonathan, because you're thinking the season is going to go differently than the rest of us. But how we know this season will go, I think that will also kind of not really fill the stands too much. But I do think that you'll get some people there who want to see Ritter. And I think that going forward, it will be really good for him to be the starting quarterback and just what he will bring to the team.
It's something else I want to throw in here as well. It could backfire as well. Again, that's why I said it's all about how much he's able to grasp that playbook. Okay. I want to take another quarterback who's in the same, basically, division, Sam Darnold. Okay. Sam Darnold, I think they threw him in there too early. He got caught up in that fire, man. It took some licks and some hits, and he never was the same. Number 1 draft pick. Very good quarterback. That's why he's still in the league. So I think it's all predicated on how the Falcons organization, their coaches, how they are able to get him, Ritter, to understand that playbook. And once he understands the playbook, he can play with confidence. But if you go out there, if you have any second guessing, you're not confident in yourself, all it's going to do is take you downhill. Okay, you don't believe me? Go look at Sam Darnold.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of Ritter. That's who I want him to pick because I saw him again play against top caliber competition, held his own against Notre Dame, played well against Alabama and Georgia. He was overwhelmed a bit by Alabama. A lot of people would have been. And he just seemed that he was not as scared of the big lights, and he didn't turn the ball over. I think he's going to see some time this year. I don't think unless Mariota gets injured, which everybody keeps saying he gets injured all the time, which is true, I don't think they're going to put him in until probably the second half of the season. And if they're doing well, you might not see him really at all except for mop-up duty. That's really what I think. And I think that what they tried to do by having Marcus there is that even he himself says, hey, I kind of patterned my game a little bit after Marcus Mariota. They're about the same build. They have kind of similar styles where, he probably is a better pocket quarterback than Mariota is. But the same thing, hey, I'm looking to try to do some things with my legs, to extend plays and to make things happen. So I think he's going to really hone in on what Marcus does with this playbook. I think Arthur Smith is going to set up things where the Falcons are going to try to run the ball a lot more. I think that they're going to try to ground and pound using a lot of shorter pass plays, thinking, hey, we got some big receivers here. We're going to try to see if we can kind of maybe move the ball down the field and not expose our defense as much as we had in years past. We're always behind, and we're expecting a smaller defense to hang on there and stop other teams from scoring. So I think, will he eventually be the starter? Yes, but I think it probably won't be until very late in the season, especially if things go to the left, as everybody's predicting they will. I think you would see him then. Otherwise, I think you may not see him you might see him as a starter. You see him doing some mop-up duty, and maybe next year take over the reins. So that's my thought.
I like that one there, Jonathan. Let him sit and let him watch, okay? Because also what you don't want to do, like a Lamar Jackson, right? I was looking at a particular football show, and they were showing how Lamar Jackson, there was a guy wide open. But because they told Lamar probably if the first read is not there, the second read is not there, run the ball. And they actually pointed it out. Yes, he went to his first read, second read wasn't there, and the third read was wide open. But because he was not told and coached properly, now it's like playing golf. Once you start taking them bad swings, man, it's like you can mess your whole game up. So Bruce Arians, I'm going to say something about Bruce Arians. Bruce Arians, he took Peyton Manning, and I'm telling you, I was there to witness it. Bruce Arians is a heck of a coach, man. And he taught Peyton, not only did Peyton's dad, Archie, teach him, but Bruce Arians was a great quarterback coach, man. So that's what you need, a great quarterback coach. So hopefully the Falcons have that for Ritter, and then Marcus can come in and add. But like you said, I agree with you. Let Ritter sit for this whole year because the Falcons are rebuilding. They're rebuilding. They don't want to say it, but they are rebuilding, just like D-Led would say. They are rebuilding. So let the man learn, and then let him come in next year from Jump Street and take the team over.
Yeah, because
I
I think
agree. And hire Tyrone Poole on your coaching staff.
Come on, Tree. Come on, Tree. Come on, Tree.
I got you, Tyrone. But it's true. I'm not just saying that because you're you, but they definitely need you on their staff. So I'm going to keep putting that out there, and then hopefully somebody will say something to somebody, and then next thing you know, Tyrone will be telling us,
Inside
"I have a new job. I'm working with a
look, at the end of the day, you don't know what might happen because clearly the Falcons are overhauling their defense. You can see by the way they drafted, what they're trying to do is get some real speed. That's what it seems like they're all about. They want speed in those linebackers, and they're hoping, I guess, that they can get enough pressure from one of these guys that it can go back to doing single blocking on Grady Jarrett. And Tyrone, you know and I know when Grady is not constantly double and triple team, he's a horse in the middle of that field. So that's what they're looking for, man. I look at these guys they drafted. Um, they want speed. And you're going to also see, I think, you're going to see more of A.J. Terrell, and you're going to see more of the safeties coming down to blitz. He really wants something very similar to Baltimore. Basically, you don't know who's going to blitz you. You know where the rush is coming from everywhere, at every different angle. And I think that's why it seems like they've tried to draft these players that are almost like Swiss Army knife players. The guys are they're kind of, in some cases, fast like a safety maybe, or a cornerback would be, almost as big as a linebacker, but hopefully these guys will be able to kind of move east to west and kind of give Grady and the other road graders some room to get in there and clog this up and play a much better defense than they playing before.
Check this out. What about Deion Jones? There's a question about Deion Jones. June 1st coming up. With the type of defense that Dean P plays, a little mixture of that 3-4. And if anybody know anything about the 3-4, there are bubbles, what they call bubbles. The guards are not covered up. So it's easy for a guard to get off onto that middle linebacker. And with Deion Jones really not being that big, what's the thoughts about him? I'm hearing the fact that they would like to trade him if they could. If they trade him, then, the Falcons could save what I said $14.7 million in cap space. But if they cut him, then it's just going to be just over a little of $1 million. But at the end of the day, you got to ask yourself, are the Falcons happy with Deion Jones in that middle? Because that 3-4 defense, if that's what Dean Pease wants to run, I do know 3-4 defense, you got to have a hell of a nose guard, which Grady could possibly be that guy. But then you got to have a linebacker, middle linebacker. We got two middle linebackers that can take on those guards and defeat them and get to that ball. And Deion Jones is really not that big, but he's still young. So that could be a plus for a trade.
Well, I mean, go ahead, Tree, go ahead.
I wasn't saying anything.
Oh, I thought you were ready to go. Yeah, so I mean, at the end of the day, he does seem to be ill-fitted for the way they're set up. I got to look at the kind of guys they're drafting. These guys, nobody looks that big to me. I mean, I think the young man that is coming out of Montana State, I think he weighs in right around 250, and I think the kid from Penn State is, I think, 255. Tyrone, I don't have his stats in front of me, but yeah, at the end of the day, I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, you got a guy that has shown that in the right scheme, he's a dynamic player. I mean, he's made some huge plays for the Falcons over the years, but you just don't know if he has now gotten a better feel for the system after he's been there a year, how he can maybe avoid those second-level blocks which have slowed him down. And Tyrone, you can tell better than me, is that something you really can do unless you have the horses up front?
You got to have the horses up front. Again, we look at Deion Jones, nothing against Deion Jones. We just call them facts of facts. 6'1", 220. 6'1", 220 playing middle. Again, myself playing on the 3-4 defense, like I said, you got those bubbles. The guards are not covered up majority of the time, so they can get a real get off and get onto that middle linebackers. And 220 versus 260, I don't know.
More.
It's tough to get off of.
Yeah, most of your guards are more than that, man. Them guys are totaling around 300 pounds. I mean, you got
some
trouble.
but if you cover him up, if you
Right.
keep Deion free, then yes, he got the speed, and I think that's what Dan Quinn was trying to do. we're going to play a 4-3. We're going to keep Deion Jones covered up. So all he do is roam from sideline to sideline, using his speed to get in there. But now you got Dean Pease coming in. He wants to run a 3-4. And he can switch to a 4-3, but he's a 3-4 man. And I need a linebackers that can get off of those blocks.
Well, we're going to see what happens, man, because like I said, again, if you look at their linebacker corps, they really don't have a lot of size. Most of those guys are fast. They're guys that pursuit guys. So it's going to be interesting, I think, to see what they're going to do in the front line. You know, they're trying to see if they can get anything out of their second-round pick from a couple of years ago, Marlon Davidson, a big guy physically, a guy that's a quick guy, almost like a Grady, except maybe a pinch bigger. And they're thinking maybe they can get more out of him. And then I don't know who they got on the other side as well, man. They re-signed the gentleman that they signed last year on a cheap contract. So they're going to have to find some way that those two end/tackles can do some more to slow down those guards and those big guys getting to the second level. Because you're right. I mean, you're just not going to be able to do anything at, 230 or 235. That's even 225. That's kind of like the glorified safety. So it's going to be interesting, man, to see what they can do. Like I said, again, I think they're trying to bring a lot of speed to that linebacker core. I think they want guys that can cover tight ends, guys that can pursue to the ball. I think they really want more flow to that ball. They want gang tackling. They want guys that can cause turnovers. And I'm just basing on the type of guys they drafted, looking at, like I said, the kid from Montana, the kid from Penn State, and also the guy from Western Kentucky who was originally from here. All these guys, that's their thing, pursuit to the ball, and in many cases making strips. So it seems like that's what he's trying to develop, a defense that can be an opportunistic defense and that can take advantage of the speed and athleticism of the linebackers in that second core.
Well, it all depends on the style of defense. Again, that's a big difference between the 4-3 and the 3-4. I get it when you say you cover these tight ends up, but usually that's going to be the wheel linebacker, which stands for the weak side linebacker, and the Sam linebacker, which stands for the strong side linebacker. Okay, those guys again going to be like more athletic. I take the Dean Pease actually coached up under Bill Belichick. Okay, and we had Mike Vrabel, who is now the head coach with the Tennessee Titans, and we had Willie McGinnis. Okay, those are two athletic linebackers. And then you had Teddy Bruschi. Teddy Bruschi was not fast, but Teddy Bruschi was big enough to where he could plug the hole, and if he had to cover a fullback or a running back, which really these running backs are like wide receivers themselves, and look at the 49ers and look at what the Falcons doing. So again, your outside linebackers have to be the guys that can cover. And the middle linebacker, those guys are run stoppers, man. They're run stoppers. Again, I can't emphasize it enough. You got those bubbles, and that's what teams going to run to. They're going to run to the bubble. And you got to have that middle linebacker that can come up in there and take on that guard, defeat him, shed him, and get in. And I just don't think when you weigh under 230 that you can do that consistently.
Yes, he might seem gone, man. I said Michael Walker, he showed some flashes like here. He could be a player. Obviously, the guy, I understand they were squeezed by the cap, but you had to give away the guy who I think the number 2 tackler in the NFL. So it's going to be tough to replace him. We're going to see what's going to happen. Whether they've drafted the guys they think they can need to plug the holes, we're going to find out. But it's going to be very interesting watching this Falcons team try to get me to 10 wins so I don't look like a psychopath here on this show. So
that's funny.
I'm going to leave it at that. All right, guys, we've come to the conclusion. As always, we're wrapping it up. And, before we let anybody go, we want to make sure that people can find out more about you, all that kind of good stuff. So, Mr. Tyrone Poole, you know how we do it. The floor is yours.
Hey, Jonathan Tree, always a pleasure to be amongst you guys. You can find me on all social media, Tyrone Poole 38, Tyrone Poole 38. So, again, thank you. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. See you next Tuesday.
Tyrone Poole, thank you, sir. God bless. All right. The lovely Miss Tree Dolman, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. You can find me on all social media at It's Latresa, as well as Ms. America International 2021. You can also sign up for our virtual 5K that we're doing now until May the 31st at gogreat4cure.org, or you can select it at runsignup.com/GoGreat4Cure 5K. And then also on all of our social media.
I'll put that up on the screen here one more time. I'll scroll it down the bottom so you guys can see it. There it is. I'll pop it up one more time on social media so you guys can look at it as well. And there you go. Again, click on the link, and you'll be able to go right to the website and sign up.
Yes.
All right, Tree. Thank you, and thank you. See, that's the difference. Notice how she held that smile, captivating, wasn't it? Beautiful. All right. Well, I don't have such grace and beauty. I'm not a champion. It's just me, the minister, Jonathan Simmons. Again, we appreciate all those of you who are watching and tune into our program each and every week. Yes, in fact, I am a real life minister. So before I go, I'm going to encourage you, please, ma'am, please, sir, if you don't know the Lord Jesus Christ, please get to know him today. He loves you more than anybody, more than your mom, more than your auntie, your BFF, babe, boo. Nobody loves you like Jesus. And here's the thing. He died for you. That's right. He died so that you can do something wonderful with him. If you repent of your sins and believe that he died upon the cross and rose from the dead, 2 spectacular things happen to you. Number 1, you become a citizen of the kingdom of heaven. And number 2, you become an adoptive child of God with all the rights therein. That means that you now can go to the creator of the entire universe and call him dad. That's right. Go to him like a father. Ask him for anything that you need or desire, and according to his will, he'll grant it to you. And then number 2, when you die, you go to that spectacular place called heaven. Nothing ever imagined by man is like it. Every single building adorned with the most spectacular jewels around. Matter of fact, the streets are paved with a gold that's so pure it's translucent. And there's none of the following: no pandemic, no pain, no more dying, no more sorrow, never dark, it's bright all the time because the glory of God illuminates the whole kingdom, and you get a chance to actually speak to God face to face. That's right. All those questions you might have, you can ask him, you can meet Jesus, and all those people that you love that went on before you, they'll be there too. But if you go to hell, all the places, all the things you talk about there in heaven are not in hell. So it's going to be dark, dreary, stinky, terrible, painful, and the most important thing, you're cut off from God and all the people you love forever and a day. I don't know about you, but I like option number 1 instead of option number 2. All right, guys, until the next time, God bless you and have a wonderful rest of your night or day or morning, whichever way you're watching the program. So long.